Bonjour et bienvenue à Gourmet. We are still working with Mastering the Art of French Cooking by Julia Child, Simone Beck, and Lousisette Bertholle, where we'll be making a soufflé of fromage or a cheese soufflé. I've never made a soufflé. I've eaten them, but never made one. I know that sometimes they can be temperamental and they'll fall. So we're just going to see what happens. Let's get going. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and prepare our soufflé mold. Um, this is the one I bought. It's a 1.5 quarts, so it should hopefully fit 6 cups. I've already got it buttered, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle it with grated cheese. This is a mixture of Parmesan and Swiss cheese. The recipe calls for a tablespoon of butter to butter it, I guess, and a tablespoon of cheese to get all the cheese around. I'm not gonna truth be told, I didn't measure the butter. I just kind of took the stick. It was a brand new stick of butter, and just swirled it around. And I'm just kind of gonna pick up some cheese and plop it in. It might not be the right way, but I'm okay with that. So that's what we'll do. I'm just gonna sprinkle the cheese. I'm gonna do another handful. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's a bad thing to have too much cheese. And I'm just kind of sprinkling the cheese around, trying to coat all the sides all the way up to the lip. I know you can't see it because it's kind of, well, you can kind of see it, but I'm just gonna dump whatever's left out. Maybe. Okay. So that's what our mold looks like. I think it was probably, 2 tablespoons of cheese versus 1. But this is what we're just gonna sit this to the side and we're gonna get started. I'm gonna try to switch to an overhead view so you won't get to see my shining face. But that's where we are. We'll see. So we're still clearly working on the downward angle. Hello. We'll figure that out as we go, you know. I spent like 5 minutes setting this up, and this is where we came to today. So that's it. What we're doing now is we're just letting this butter melt. It's 3 tablespoons of butter, and we're melting it, and we're going to stir in 3 tablespoons of flour once this is all melted. So we're just going to let this melt, and I'll see you when that's finished. Okay, so our butter's melted. You can sort of tell and sort of not. But we're going to go ahead and add 3 tablespoons of flour into this. And we're just making a roux. Kind of like 1.5. That was probably 1.5. That was about 1.5. That should cover us. And we're just going to cook this together until all the flour and the butter cook together. It says per the book it's about 2 minutes. We don't want it to get brown. We just want to kind of cook the flour out into the butter. Now the recipe does say to use like a wooden spoon or spatula. I'm using my favorite Pampered Chef spatula because why not? And we just have this on kind of like a medium heat. I am going to turn it down a little bit because we don't want it browning or really, I guess cooking's kind of not the right word, but if you've seen what a roux is, you know what we're looking for. We're not looking to cook this into like a solid form. We want it to stay in this like liquid mass. Let's see. I'll bring it up so you can kind of see that's what we're looking like. Maybe like a couple more seconds to go. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat since I am working on an electric stove and not gas, because this next step we're supposed to do off the heat. But our flour, everything bubbly, and that's what we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and pour in boiled milk. Now, I did just boil this in the microwave. I didn't boil it any differently. But I'm going to pour this in, sit this here, and we're going to kind of move this off the heat. And we're just going to start whisking this together. And you can see how thick it's already gotten, which is perfect. It's activating all of that gluten in the flour. There you go. You guys can kind of see. The only downside to doing this from top down is I can't see what you're seeing, really. But that's okay. So now I'm going to add in a little bit of salt. It's a half teaspoon. I'm going to add in pepper. This says 1/8 of a teaspoon. I disagree. I'm going with that much. We're going to add in a little bit of cayenne. It says a pinch. A little more than a pinch, but whatever. And then we're going to add a pinch of nutmeg. Maybe a little more than a pinch, but I'm okay with that. I know this looks kind of gross because it's all like one mass, but from reading the directions, this is exactly what we want it to be. So you can see, like, there you go. You can see how it like keeps its shape and it's trailing. That's what we want. Now we're going to add eggs. I had some technical difficulties, but we have all of our egg yolks in here. We have 4 egg yolks that we separated, and we're just going to whisk these guys in. And we're doing this off the heat because we really don't want to cook our egg yolks. But you can see how it's definitely thinned out a little bit with the addition of those egg yolks. And just set that down and get a good... Now, I don't know if you're supposed to do the eggs one at a time or not, but I put them all in at once because I was separating them all at once, so that's what I did. It seems to have worked out, though. You can kind of tell that. Yeah. What am I doing next? We're going to set this to the side. I'm going to whip egg whites off camera. Okay, so we're back. We went ahead and whipped 5 egg yolks in the KitchenAid. Of course, the cookbook says you can do it by hand. I'm not doing that. I refuse. So we've got our egg whites right here. There we go. This is what they look like. You can see they're a little foamier than like the meringue we're making, but that's because this is just pure egg whites and salt. What we're going to do is we're going to just slowly fold this into our sauce. So I'm going to get that ready. And of course, folding takes a while because you're trying not to knock out all of the air from the egg whites, but you're also trying to incorporate it into your sauce. We had a technical difficulty with the overhead camera already. Basically, the mount fell off from where it was, and I can't figure out how to put it back without it falling again. So that's why we're switching back to this for this step. But I'll bring this, once it's a little more incorporated, I'll bring it over to show you guys what this looks like. This is going to be a little bit of a process, so I won't make you watch all of it, but you can see a little bit of it. So here we go. It's not all the way incorporated. You can tell that we still have some big chunks left. And really, we can like stir those and break those up But we're truly just like scooping, folding, scooping, folding. That's what we're doing. If anybody watched the show Schitt's Creek, when it said fold in the cheese, this is obviously what it meant in that recipe. And that's kind of what we're going to do next. Once these little lumps get out, I'm just going to kind of give it more of a vigorous fold real quick just to get those out. But this mixture is already a lot lighter. What we're going to do is we're going to add 3/4 cup to a cup of cheese. I don't think we're going to do this. I didn't measure it. I know I grated more than a cup, so I'm just going to kind of get a handful and put it in. I know I'm not supposed to, but I think we can eyeball a cup pretty well. And like I said, this is part Parmesan, part Swiss. So that's what we're going to do now. I do have a cup to the side that I definitely could be using. I'm just choosing not to. But that's about a cup of cheese. And we're going to fold that in. This is obviously a cheese souffle, so you want a lot of cheese. But souffles are, of course, light and airy, so you don't want it to melt. You really want flavor. This cheese is going pretty well. It melted pretty instantly. There's a couple chunks in here that I'm just going to break up really quick. But this looks pretty good. So this is what it looks like after adding the cheese. It's definitely thicker. Of course, not all the cheese is melted, but that's okay. Yeah, so we're going to just go ahead and add the rest of the egg whites in here. It's so funny because, like, you know there's stuff in this bowl, but they're so light and fluffy that it's just the weight of the glass bowl and nothing else. Let's go ahead and fold these guys in. Now, we do save some of the cheese to sprinkle on top once we have this in the souffle pan ready to go. But I'm not going to make you guys watch this. I'll see you when that step's ready. So we've got our prepared souffle dish from earlier. We have our mixture incorporated. So I am going to, this is what it looks like. It's still got a couple bumps in there, but I don't want to stir it too much more and knock out any more air. So we're just going to go for it. We're just going to pour this in here. Set that aside. The book says this would be about 3/4 of the way full, which it is. I think we're spot on to where we want to be. So we're going to put this in the oven at 400 degrees for, 25 to 30 minutes. I am going to sprinkle, per the cookbook, a little bit more cheese on top. I think this will give it a nice little crust. I don't want to do too much, though, because we do want it to rise. Now, it might be a controversial move, but I think I'm going to put this on the baking sheet. We'll see. But we're actually knocking the oven down to 375. I'm going to put this on the cookie sheet. And hopefully in 25 to 30 minutes, the souffle will have puffed. And then we bake for 4 to 5 more minutes to firm it a little bit, and then it's ready to serve. So fingers crossed. I'll see you guys then. It's been just about 25 minutes, closer to 26. I can't see it through the oven, and I opened it up and it looked like it had puffed. I don't think it's puffed 2 inches over the rim of the mold, but that could be the mold. It could be I didn't whip the eggs quite enough. I overfolded. Who knows? I think there's a lot of reasons for that. But it looks like we got puff, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the oven. And I'll show you guys, probably do like a beauty shot real quick. It's going to be a while before we taste it because I'm trying to get all the things ready for the video and thumbnails and stuff and Instagram posts. But let's just bite the bullet and take it out. if you follow the cookbook perfectly, it's not going to cook more than like 35 minutes. And we're right in between like 25 and 30, so I don't think it's going to be any different. Okay. It puffed. It looks good. It's nicely browned. Okay. Now that that's all out of the way, let me bring this closer to you guys so you can see it. It's already deflating, so it's not all the way. But look at how good that looks. You can see we definitely made it a little bit over the edge of the pan, but not a lot. Honestly, I'm just going to scoop it right out of here to try. Oh, it's got a nice edge crust. It feels nice and fluffy. It's, of course, steaming hot. That's good. I like it. It's a really light flavor. I almost would want to add more cheese or something, but I think that might hinder it rising. The edges are good. It really wasn't that hard to make. All of it happens in the oven and with the egg whites. So I don't know. I think overall I'd probably give this one like a 7 just because it's such a light, delicate flavor, which I appreciate, but I think I would rather it be like a light, delicate chocolate flavor, which I'm sure, who knows, we might make another one down the road with this cookbook. But if I was served this at like breakfast for an appetizer or, like one of those fancy luncheons type of deals, types of things, I would be pleasantly surprised and I would be happy with it. Yeah, so like I said, about a 7 just because it is a really light, delicate flavor. But I like it. No, I'm going to keep eating it. So that's for that one. Really, the ingredients were super easy to get. I really didn't have to buy that much. So yeah, I like this one. It was a success overall for my first souffle. I am not mad. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Au revoir.